the second this kind of protest started, it was immediately smeared as a far-right protest. I don't think it's far-right to actually have a concern about who these people that you're putting up in our neighbourhood. We don't really know who they are. We don't really know what their intentions are. And we have a concern about our safety of perhaps our children. There's nothing far-right about that. I would say that's far common sense. Anyway, what do you make to it, Lord Moylan?
Well, first of all, there can be no defence for rioting and the sort of behaviour we've seen and the attacks on the police and setting fire to police vans and whatever. Yeah. So no defence of that whatsoever. But I think it's really interesting, and I've seen this in other things, how the press completely jump straight away to their particular narrative, their favoured default narrative, without actually asking people. Some of these people, you know, could have been asked to give their views on what it was that was motivating them, to try to understand rather than condemn. In the first place, we want to understand. And I believe that the original people who turned out were not rioting as such. They had the protest, they had concerns. Maybe the way they conducted themselves was insensitive, but the rioting people came later. And I think it would be fair to give people a chance to say what their concerns were.
What's insensitive? What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. I mean, when they started, I don't know whether it's demonstrating outside an hotel where people are staying is obviously fairly threatening, even if it's something that has legitimate concern. So the first thing you might do is, you know, ask for meetings with people and whatever, rather than actually demonstrating in the street. But the point I'm trying to make is they should be listened to until we can understand what they're saying. Second point is the government is aware that this policy in hotels isn't working. It's not working financially. And it's not working in terms of communities. And they realise that they're being hammered for it. And I think they are trying to do something about moving people out of hotels, but it's very, very slow. And again, the civil service is letting people down. They're all over the place. We don't see them actually achieving very much, despite the money spent on their USB cable.
Yeah, I've got to say, I will repeat what I already just said, but I do not condone nor support at all the attacking of public, you know, police officers and all the rest of it. I think that is appalling. But I do worry, you know, this is the first protest we've seen on this scale, and I worry that this is going to be the first of many. I don't want it to be, but I worry because I feel the public mood. And it's not going in a direction that's positive and healthy, I can assure you. Your thoughts, Kevin Craig?
Well, I think around the country, and it isn't just in this area of Liverpool, I mean, there are many, many members of Parliament of all persuasions who are dealing with a lot of constituent anxiety about the use of hotels for asylum seekers. You know, there was a very close associate of Daniel's old boss and somebody you admire. The MP's name is Conor Burns, very close to Boris. He did an amazing debate the other night in Parliament about his constituent in Bournemouth who was murdered by somebody who shouldn't have been here, right? It's happening in Peterborough, Dover, lots of swing seats around the country. So I think whatever your views on it, how dare you, as you both have said, lift your hand to our brave policemen and women. And I think people have a right to voice their anxieties, you know, but do it in a democratic way. Don't do it with violence, intimidation.